What's up, guys? It's Techno Viking 23 coming to you today with a little bit of Destiny 2 Beyond Light. And even though I have mixed feelings about this expansion, one of the really cool things is that pretty much my favorite zone in the entire franchise of Destiny has been brought back into the game. Unvaulted, as they are calling it now, I guess is Bungie's new term for it. But anyways, they have brought back the Cosmodrome in old Russia. You guys may remember this as the zone where you started in the first original Destiny, when you're first resurrected by your ghost, and start your adventure in this franchise. So I thought it'd be kind of cool to kind of take a tour of the old area, reminisce a little bit, kind of point out to you guys some of the things that have changed and have happened, and also indicate where Bungie has been a little bit lazy with this expansion and the new content that they've technically brought back. So the first thing you're going to notice in the Cosmodrome is we're in the starting area where we started the original Destiny. You notice that the last time we were in the Cosmodrome, it was covered in snow. It was a Rise of Iron expansion in the first Destiny game. But as they've done a lot in Destiny 2, it's almost like Bungie is completely forgetting about some of the stuff they've done in the franchise. So as you can see, there's no snow. And the wall is completely repaired. If you remember the last time we were in the Cosmodrome, I believe it was Sepix Prime who got brought back together with Siva, had destroyed the Cosmodrome wall and had caused all this damage, and yet that's magically just fixed. Back to how it was originally 3-4 years ago prior to it happening. So that's kind of funny. The other thing, too, is you'll notice that all of the colony ship towers in the first area are now standing once again. These were actually knocked down in the first kind of full in-game event you see, where the fallen ship comes down and knocks them all over with a big shockwave. So that was also kind of interesting. And quite possibly the biggest thing is they have fixed the moon. If you remember in the original game, the moon used to be huge on this map. It was almost like it had been brought closer to Earth somehow. So they fixed a couple things, cleaned up a little bit more, but kind of forgot what the Destiny timeline was. There's no way the Cosmodrome would just be reset all the way back to how it used to be, unless we were just in some kind of crazy Vex simulation or something, who knows. But anyways, this was always my favorite zone. One of the reasons is I love space travel. I grew up in the 80s, when NASA was still launching the shuttle. I love space movies and just things that have to do with space travel, space flight, exploration. All that stuff in general. So this was the cool zone to start off in. Kind of wonder what happened here, wonder where the colony ships were going during the collapse. And of course, as we played through Destiny and Destiny 2, we've kind of been able to go visit some of those areas outside of Earth where they were trying to colonize. So remember in the first game, the starting area, you came through here. You, of course, didn't jump up and hit the wall like me, but you would come up through this area here. This is where your ghost is kind of telling you, you've been resurrected and there's fallen and it's really dangerous and all that. But it's pretty much the same as it was before. Coming up through the breach, they've done a pretty good job. One of the things I think that's really cool about Destiny 2 is with Beyond Light, they did redo the graphics a little bit, and the game just looks absolutely fantastic. One of the things I always talk about with this game is the art. The art people, the sound people, they do an incredible job with this game. So still looks great. This is where you first came in and your ghost went and turned all the lights on. But like I said, this was all destroyed actually in Rise of Iron. You come through this area right here. This is all the ceiling, all these pipes, everything gets smashed out of the way by the giant servitor, and now it's all been put back completely how it was in the original Destiny. This is where we grabbed the Kavastov the first time we came through. Our first weapon in the game. And of course now this is all full of these stupid exploding shanks, so it's kind of annoying. I just want to run through here real quick so we can get to the other areas, but unfortunately we kind of have to worry about these. But this is the initial area you first came through and met the Fallen, got your first weapon, kind of battled through everything, and depending on your class you would get like the shotgun or the sniper rifle up here. It was kind of your first secondary weapon. Now we have fancy things in the game like bow and arrow, which is pretty cool. But this is kind of neat, just coming through this old area. And, again, in Rise of Iron, this all got smashed out and was pretty much gone. But now you can see back through here, it's all been repaired. You know, the new generation of consoles and PC, they've been able to somewhat sharpen up these graphics quite a bit and actually make it look really good. You can actually see a lot more detail, whereas before it was kind of just faded out. There he is. I was going to say, I thought I saw a dude cloaked in there. So, but yeah, it was kind of fun to come back, kind of see the Cosmodrome again. I used to spend countless hours. You guys all remember the old spin metal loop that you had to run in the rocket yards. Unfortunately, you're not able to do that anymore, as I will show you. One of the other things that's kind of interesting about this Cosmodrome that they supposedly brought back is you'll see there's going to be some major differences that are kind of unfortunate. You just got to knock out some of these guys here. Now, this was the room you first fought. There was a big fallen boss you would kill in here. He'd come out of this pipe on the wall. This is the famous location from the original Destiny Vidoc that Bungie did, where the guy got the Thunderlord drop off of the first fallen boss in the game. It was pretty hilarious. And then you would make your way out through this giant sewer pipe, and you would come out into this area here. And as soon as you came out to the divide, there was like this huge sonic boom, and the big fallen ketch comes flying over and knocks over all the colony ships over here. Now, interestingly enough, they're damaged now, and the ships are gone. So see, that's another thing that's kind of funny, is when you come to that first starting area, the spaceships are still there, the towers and all that. So it's just really weird that they would kind of mess up something like that. And of course, this is the colony ship that you wound up climbing to the top of in the Taken King, doing some of that extra content. So this area is still pretty much the same. The Fallen Walker does drop here, the spider tank, but now I don't believe it's a public event anymore. I've hung out here quite a bit, and it just kind of drops as a normal, natural thing, and you'll get to fight it whenever it does come down, but you don't really get anything for it. It's not really a public event anymore. So if you make your way over here, like you used to be able to come over here, and this would take you over to the rocket yard and King's Watch, the blast and all that. That was one of the cooler areas of the Cosmodrome. But you'll notice that now, where you used to be able to come back here, there's now a giant wall. And it's all closed off. You can't get back into the rocket yard anymore. Lore-wise in-game, they're saying it's been quarantined. So you can't get back to the Plague Lands. But of course, this isn't the Plague Lands version of the Cosmodrome, so that really struck me as being kind of odd. Now, one thing they did add here is before this used to be just this area here, but now you can actually go up top here, and there's actually a lost sector. And if you go back in there, you can actually go through part of the rocket yard where they build the rockets for these old colony ships. And there's actually a giant fallen machine in there, and you get to kill the lost sector boss, so it's pretty cool. He just fired a flare there, so that might mean that maybe what brings in the spider tank, or it could be that. Oh, okay, so yeah, new guy over here just came in, so it's going to trigger it's probably going to trigger the giant catch flying over like it does in the first time you come in here. It's interesting because they've actually completely redone the opening scene. If you start over on Destiny 2 as a brand new player now, they show the whole part where you go to Mars. Yeah, here's the big catch coming over right now. So they actually show where they went to Mars in the original, and then found the Traveler. Well, this time it starts you off in the Cosmodrome, just like it did before. Your ghost resurrects you, but instead of coming to find a ship, you actually find there's a new guy. I'll show you guys here in a second. But there's this new Guardian who's already in the Cosmodrome as like a Vanguard scout, and he kind of gives you your first assignments. Kind of a new contact they put in the game. Just come through and kill you. Now this is where you found your jump ship in the first game, and then once you found your jump ship, it took you to the city, and you got to meet the speaker and all that fun stuff and start the adventure. But this is a little different. And let's see here. There's a guy hiding here somewhere. There he is. But this takes us out, kind of back out into the main area of the Cosmodrome where we spent a lot of time in the first Destiny game. So that's normally, you would have found your jump ship in the past room. But instead, right now, you can keep on going through and come back out to the main area here. And here we are. This should look really familiar. This is one of the main areas we used to hang around in the Cosmodrome. And so they got this new guy here, Shawhan, not sure how you say his name, but and he gives out these really easy bounties that you can come and do every day. Like, that's pretty much what Destiny, unfortunately, has turned into, is a daily bounty grind. So he's a new hunter contact who's here, and he's kind of set up a little office down here with a sleeping bag. I think it's kind of funny that Guardians sleep in sleeping bags in this advanced future, but it's kind of interesting. So most of the areas that you could go to before are still around, like all the little caves and whatnot. And that used to be the thing. You go around the Cosmodrome just exploring all the little areas. So in this building, this is where you would go down at the beginning and get into the to get the map. Now, one thing that's really interesting here, if you remember in the first Destiny, there used to be a crashed jump ship right here, and that's gone. The crater's still there from where it crashed, but that was an area where you went and got a transmission, and there was a Guardian looking around that you were trying to find. But that's been removed. So interesting that they took things like that out, but then, like I said, the minor graphical differences, like with the colony ships still being up on their launchers and in one scene and then not in the other. It's just interesting to me how they made one change but didn't get the other one. So just kind of random. So this is where you would come on the first mission, and your ghost would download the computer, and then you would find the map of the Cosmodrome. And then a lot of us remember there used to be this area here where you could you go in here in the Hive, or down here, if I could aim. But there was a big room here, and sometimes it would change. There would be these two, I guess they're not here. Are they here? Oh, there they are. Yep. So there were these two knights that were always here in the original, and they were like the question mark over the top of their health bar. Like, they would just completely destroy you if you came down here as a new player. Oh wow, did he drop? He dropped a bunch of stuff there. You know what? Let's just got it. Wow, we can get an exotic. I didn't really know exotics could drop. Wow. So there you go. But yeah, these guys were a real pain in the first game because you could not come down here and explore. And it's kind of nice they put that back in. It's kind of a nice touch that they're back in here. And there's also a region chest in this room here that you can get the first time you come in here. But it was a nice surprise to come back down here and see they had at least left that little detail in this area. And you'll see there's another one like that later on when we get up towards Skywatch that they did as well. So, but it's pretty neat. Pretty neat that they at least kept that little thing there. And then, well, like I said, all these little caves are still here. There's some region chests in some of them if you want to check them when you're coming through here. And this is just like the original game. This area, all this is still up here. Oh, good shot. That's a great shot there. And then, of course, you head out this way to go to the Moth Yards, which was one of my favorite places to kind of explore when the game first came out, just because of all the old kind of rusted out wrecked airplanes they have. Just hop on our Sparrow here. It's a little bit quicker. So here we are. You got, of course, the planes that are all rusted out, all the Fallen that are kind of hanging out. Don't want to get shot too many times because Sparrows are really flimsy now. So you get hit a couple times, but the Moth Yard is pretty much the same. It's got all the different little hidden areas you can go into and find chests and whatnot. And then, of course, Skywatch is up on top. And even this old cave up on top here is still around. So if you want to go up here, you can still get up in here. And I believe there's a region chest in here the first time you come. But there used to be, back, some of you guys may not remember this, but the original Destiny had the hidden ghosts that you could find everywhere. That would give you lore cards that you would have to go read outside of the game, of course. So, and this, of course, is Skywatch. That's the first time you encounter the Hive in the game. All the little caves and things are still there. There's still a cave down here that you can go in, and it takes you all the way up around to the back here. is just pretty much the same as it used to be. They've added a little bit of detail to some of the aircraft so that you can still see them a little bit better all the way out there. And then in the first game, the first time you went up through here, you actually were going out to the Forgotten Shore to wake up the Warmind, Rasputin, who obviously now is pretty involved in the Destiny 2 lore. Just kind of goofing around here. But yeah, so let's we'll go through Skywatch the other way, but we can kind of cut through here to go to the Forgotten Shore. One of the nice things, like I said again, this game is just you can see how amazing it looks now compared to the original Destiny. It just looks so good. You know, that's one of the areas they really continue to do well with Destiny and PC and the new consoles. It just looks amazing. There's a little cave up here. You used to find a there was a dead ghost in there before that you could get. So now we're out on the Forgotten Shore, and this is a really interesting area because there was so much cool stuff you could kind of find in here before. Obviously, the Hive and the Fallen are fighting. But all of these boats had little areas in them. These ships that kind of washed ashore here. Oh, can't quite clear that. And of course, there's caves, all the caves that were here before. And before, actually, you could go all the way up to this big ship in the back here. And this one here. And there's actually an old bunker in there. You could kind of check that out. You could see it early on in the game, but there was nothing there until later on when they brought in Omnigul. And then you could see that it was Rasputin's, one of his bunkers. You had to rescue him from the Hive multiple times. So the Fallen are still up here. There used to be a Fallen captain that was always back here. But I think I saw a chest up here, yep. Okay, that's weird. Can't open it. Okay, not going to worry about it. But it used to be able to come down these steps right here. And now this is all sealed off. So that was kind of disappointing when I first came back to check this out, because it was cool that they put the Hive Knights in the main part of the Cosmodrome, but then they kind of didn't add this area in. And the other thing that really sucks too is you cannot get back. In fact, you can't even see it anymore. There used to be a Hive ship that crashed back here, and you would go when you first came to the zone. There were question mark enemies. You couldn't go back here, and you could take but you used to be able to take your Sparrow back through here. And there was a big salt mine that was part of a strike. There's another entrance to the Warmind bunker back over through here, and all that's been closed off now. You cannot go back through there, so that's kind of unfortunate, because that was a really cool spot. And it looks like the land, I guess lore-wise, they're going to say it like slid off into the ocean or something. I don't know, but it's gone. And he's not here. Okay, so another cool thing Destiny 1 veterans will remember is Randall the Vandal. Randall was just a normal fallen vandal who would, by a glitch, would spawn back here with like unlimited health, and he was nearly impossible to kill. And you would come through here as like a level 1, and he would just completely destroy you every single time. So they've actually put him back in, and he'll spawn out here every once in a while. So that's kind of a neat touch too. Now this is new. You can actually go in the front of this ship. If you go down in there, there's actually a lost sector that you can go explore right here. And it's actually a Hive lost sector, and it's on the outside of the Rasputin bunker. So you can kind of see the walls of the bunker, but you can't get in. You still can't get in it, which is kind of unfortunate. Looks like the Hive. I don't remember the Hive coming here before. This is kind of interesting. That is a lot of Hive. Have just spawned here. Oh, this guy just killed himself. That's pretty funny. And another chest that we can't open. I wonder if that's part of the new, might be part of the new expansion that just came out with the hunt. I don't know. We're going to keep on going though. So, like I said, this is the Forgotten Shore. It's pretty much the same as it was before, other than the fact that you cannot get back around to the old Hive ship, which actually you could go through that, and it would take you all the way back to the rocket yards. But that's no longer there. It's kind of sucks. So it's just, like I said, it's just so weird how they just didn't do this zone completely. And it used to be. I wonder if there's a chest back here. I haven't checked yet in any of my playthroughs, but I don't know. I don't want to die or jump off the cliff here, but there used to be might be able to get back here. I don't know if we can go down. We can. Okay, yeah, it's gone. There used to be a gold chest here. If you guys remember the first game, you could find like 5 gold chests on every planet, and it kind of gave you items and weapons. It was pretty cool. Now let's see if we can get back up top here. Alright, so let's go into... We'll go finish up our tour here, cut through Skywatch. And this will actually loop us back around into the Moth Yards just like it used to. Now, these areas are a little different in here. It's still kind of this big parking garage here, and you still have some enemies, the Terrestrial Complex. Got some fallen in here. There used to be dead ghosts in here too, so where are you going, buddy? Oh, there he is. So yeah, it's pretty much the same as it was before. And then you come up through here, and you'll actually go up into the old server room where you first discovered Rasputin. It's in this room here. So, let's see, I don't really want to sit here and fight all these guys, so we'll just kind of go up. So the old server where you first discover Rasputin used to be over here. It came up out of the floor. That eventually led you to the mission where you open up the giant satellite dish and spread the Rasputin signal back out to Mars and everywhere. Oh, there's a lot of guys. Guess they're gonna make me fight through some of these. Okay, so this is actually the original spot where you would turn Rasputin on, and the skeleton's still here. The guy that was, he worked a little too much overtime, and he's still here. So they left that guy there. That's kind of interesting. And this is where you would fight through. You can see in the back that the giant satellite dish that you used to contact Mars and Venus and the other planets on the first game is gone. It's been put back inside this little building here, so that's no longer there. So yeah, interesting that they've done all this. So like I said, they've done a little work. You can see the graphic detail is a lot cleaner on some of the backgrounds now, so you can actually kind of see a little bit more detail with okay, dude, stop teleporting. Just let me hit you. But this is all pretty much the same, and this was the scene of one of the cooler fights in the first game, where you had to do one of the original basically put your ghost out and then play horde mode for 10 minutes. But now we're cutting through the complex here. We'll be back out into another area that will look really familiar. And I'm sure you guys will recognize it if you played through the first game. There used to be a ton of bounties and stuff to do up here. Was it Urzok the Hated or Urzok something that we used to have to kill in the dark below? He used to spawn up in this area here. So here we are at Skywatch. And the cool thing is, the couple times I've come through here, they've had pretty much the Hive and the Fallen in constant like fight with each other. So it's pretty cool. But yeah, and then House of Wolves, they would have the different treasure chests hidden everywhere. So you can still come up on top here. It's basically the exact same zone. You can still see everything going on kind of all over the place. Here's the one ship that, Hive ship that crashed, and that goes into the Jovian Complex, which that's where you fought Omnigul in the first game. I believe that strike, I have not played it yet. There's a new strike that takes place there. I believe it's for the newer players to kind of get acquainted. We'll go check that out in a minute. But you can go, again, it's like you can go to the door of the Jovian Complex, but you can't go inside it. So it's just like the original game. Now, one of the cool things, again, we talked about the 2 Hive Knights underneath the first part of the Cosmodrome. They kept this area in here. And, okay, it's just a knight. Sometimes the ogre's here. So this is kind of different, but the knight's here. And there's going to be a region chest in here as well, like the first time you come in here. So it's kind of cool. This area was in the first game, and if you drop down into it as a newer player, there's usually a giant hive ogre in here that you could not kill. There was just no way to kill it. So, and I believe there was also a dead ghost in here. So it's kind of a nice touch again that they left this in here. And then you kind of get a nice view of the rest of the zone. You used to be able to see, I don't know if it's here or not. There used to be, you could see a city in the background, which is kind of cool. But yeah, the Hive and the Fallen just continue to spawn here. So if you're ever doing any kind of weapon bounties, like for Banshee, this is a good spot to come because it's just non-stop enemies. So we'll go check out the, there was the crashed Fallen ship here as well. That's still here. They brought it back. Oh, and of course, everybody should remember this. Blue Cave. It's there, and it's basically the same as it was after they, air quotes, fixed it in the original game so you couldn't farm here. They put all these bodies in and said, you know, 1 million, whatever, not enough for Master Rules. So that's still here, and you can still hear the sound clip, so it's pretty neat that they left that in there. So that's kind of a little Easter egg that they left for players of the original game. Some newer players who've just been playing Destiny 2 may not know what that's about, but that brings back memories. Back in the day, literally the game was so boring at times, people would just come to the Cosmodrome and shoot into a cave over and over, because there was a, you know, the enemies would just continue to spawn over and over, and you would just farm engrams, and it was pretty funny. People would they would start trolling at some point, like, you know, people would start shooting rockets into the cave, and there'd be like Ward of Dawn Titans that would come up and pop their bubble right in front of the rocket when it shot, so the person would kill themselves, and it was a pretty hilarious spot. But this is where it used to come in the Omnigul Strike, and of course it's closed off just like it was in the original Destiny. So some of these areas I was really hoping they would have left open to make it so you could explore a bit more, since they brought it back for Destiny 2. Supposedly we're going to be getting more of these areas. Like, I guess they're going to be bringing Venus back, and I don't know where else we'll go, but maybe the original reef will come back. I don't know. So there's a lot of spots in the game. It's kind of unfortunate that they vaulted so much content. When you go to the director now, it's like there's almost nothing to do. There's really not that many areas to go check out. Let's see here. It's at an important targeted spawn, but I really don't feel like sitting here and trying to find it. That's probably him right there. No, it's just normal captain. Alright, let's keep going. Get this finished. I don't want to reminisce too much. But yeah, so this was the main zone that you started off in. And of course that wizard came from the moon, that famous line that's coming up in this area over here. This is part of the area where we first met the Hive. And they've got some Hive here. I think there's a wizard in here. Just easy to farm headshots through this area. Still trying to get the catalyst on this freaking gun. Polaris Lance, or whatever they call the one gun from Warmind, which thankfully is an exotic, so it's not getting sunset. I don't know, I'm sure you guys know all about the sunsetting controversy stuff that's going on with Destiny 2, but this is actually one of my favorite weapons in the game, the Polaris Lance. It was a exotic you could find in the Warmind campaign if you went through and did like all the puzzles and secret rooms and things, and I spent a long time trying to get this weapon, and so that's why it's kind of my favorite. So this is, we're cutting back down through Skywatch, and this is sort of the room where when you first play the game, the first time you meet the Hive is in here, and it's kind of creepy because you're not quite sure what to expect, and then the music gets all creepy, and the music in this game is usually pretty good, helps set the atmosphere. And then all the Hive the room just floods with thralls. And the first time you come in here, you're not really armed with the best weapons. You don't have all your abilities, so you're kind of like, oh my god, what do I do? And this is kind of different here. This is part of other stuff you play in the game. You can't really do anything about this here, but there's this giant arc charge, and if you go too close to it, you actually will die. But you can see there's a Hive trap back there, so that's part of the campaign. If you're a brand new player, you play through like the new light quest. That's where you wind up going there. So, and that's pretty much it. I mean, that's you know, it's the Cosmodrome. It's mostly intact. It's unfortunately not complete, and that was one of my big complaints. Was that you know, they just didn't put it back in its entirety, or you know, in any case, had the plague lands. I don't see why they wouldn't put that back in. I know lore-wise that, you know, they're saying Zavala quarantined the area and all that, but it just seems kind of silly that they would take away all this other content, vault all this content, and then bring back the Cosmodrome, but not completely. So, you know, it is what it is, I guess. So you just come up here, you can kind of look out over the moth yards. And like I said, they did clean up some of the, you can kind of see these fighters in a little bit better detail. But it's kind of interesting. So that's pretty much it, guys. That is the Cosmodrome in Destiny 2, unvaulted, brought back. Again, not in its entirety. So again, it's kind of typical Bungie. You know, when they do something, they don't do it all the way like they should. So it's unfortunate. But we've got this new zone to kind of explore. There's a couple new lost sectors you can check out. And they made some nice graphical improvements to the overall area. It still looks amazing. It's still one of my favorite areas. As I said, just given the whole space exploration aspect of everything. And you kind of, you know, you get to see this big colony ship sitting up here. And you kind of, you know, I always wondered how these things actually took off. Just aerodynamically, they don't make much sense. I guess they're just going on, you know, pure mass of thrusters, I guess is always what they're doing to carry them up there. So, and you have these cool looking space shuttles attached to them. So I was always really intrigued by this area. So it was really cool in the Taken King when they let us go up. Actually, I believe it was this tower over here that you got to climb up and then cross over to the ships there. So it was pretty cool. Anyways, guys, that was just kind of a fun little video to go back and check out the Cosmodrome again in Destiny 2 now that it's back in the game. I don't know what else they're going to be bringing back with vaulted content. I'm not sure. I know we're getting the vaulted glass, so I don't know if that means we're going to get all of Venus back, but it was just kind of cool to come back into this area, and even though there's been some changes and we didn't get the full thing, you know, kind of neat to come back in here and check it out again. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. As always, if you have any comments, leave them down below, and I'll do my best to answer. As always, I hope you guys are having a great day. Thanks as always for watching, and I'll see you again next time.